Hello, I'm Martin Woodrow. I'm the Chief Executive of the British Dental Association. There's been a lot of activity again this week as we continue to campaign on behalf of dentistry, and here's a roundup of the major news. Well, we started the week with appearances on Radio 4's Today programme and on BBC Breakfast, which grew to include widespread coverage across the UK after we sent an open letter to Matt Hancock calling for capital investment to help practices reduce their fallow time by improving ventilation, and we made similar approaches across the devolved nations. This in turn would help dentists increase their capacity and thus restore services to millions of patients across the UK. We made the case on the back of our own survey data, which found that 70% of practices are still operating at less than half of their pre-pandemic capacity. And the number one barrier to increasing that capacity continues to be fallow time. While the revised SOPs across the UK do include options to reduce fallow time, the fact remains that many practices do not have the funds available to invest in the necessary equipment. This issue was raised again in the House of Commons on Tuesday with Rosie Cooper MP, who sits on the Health and Social Care Committee, calling on the government to provide capital grants to help dental practices buy high-capacity ventilation equipment. Further, Dr. Philippa Whitford, the SNP health spokesperson, also called on the government to remove VAT from ventilation to make it more affordable. Myself and our chair, Eddie Crouch, also met with Joe Churchill MP, the Health Minister in Westminster, responsible for dentistry, to further address the challenges of fallow time and the issues of ventilation. We've pressed the point it's been over a decade since dentists in England received any capital investment from central government, and we estimate that through increased patient contributions, the government would easily recoup the costs. Since lockdown, the Treasury will have lost nearly £400 million from patient contributions that are increasingly relied upon to fund NHS services in England and across the UK, with around £50 million lost in revenue per month. This is a crucial situation for everyone, and it's essential that it receives proper government attention. As our chair Eddie Crouch said, on paper we've got the chance to restore services to millions, but without support from government it won't translate into better access. Of course, we'll keep you informed of developments. Discussions continued in Northern Ireland this week on the shape of financial support for dentistry until the end of this financial year. Earlier in the week, we were extremely disappointed with the new enhanced rate for community dentists in Northern Ireland. The new rate is time and a third, despite us putting a strong case for a higher rate. This will apply for 2 hours work between April 2020 and the end of March 2021. Despite 8 months of engagement on this matter, there was no opportunity for formal feedback on the decision, and we will be writing to the Department of Health and update you as soon as we can. We also briefed the Northern Ireland Assembly Health Committee this week on the revised operational guidance for dentistry and the significant impact that restrictions continue to have for practices in Northern Ireland. We've been clear that expectations regarding the level of patient care need to be tempered, and that practices will require continued support in the months ahead. This week, parts of Scotland entered level 4 of restrictions, which is the highest level on the Scottish Government scale. Subsequently, the Chief Dental Officer for Scotland, Tom Ferris, and the National Clinical Director issued a joint letter to wholly private practices explaining that in level 4 the focus of care should be on essential or urgent treatment only. No aesthetic procedures or elective treatment should be undertaken at this level. The letter refers to financial support available to businesses during the pandemic. We had sought financial support for private dentistry, and it's disappointing that no specific support was made available. You're probably already aware that it is currently Mouth Cancer Action Month, and we're encouraging dental teams to support the Oral Health Foundation's campaign by raising awareness of oral cancers with patients. New cases of mouth cancers have risen to a record high of over 8,700, which is an increase of 58% compared to 10 years ago. Early detection is key to improve survival rates. However, we know that the pandemic has potentially had a devastating impact on this. A new report by the OHF claims that there have been 65% fewer referrals since the first lockdown in March. So the focus of this year's campaign is to encourage people to undertake self-checks in between dental appointments and to seek attention as soon as they notice anything unusual. The Oral Health Foundation have a wealth of digital resources available on their website that expand upon this, and they are asking us to share them on our available channels. So do have a look at the link below and see what you can do. So that's all from me this fortnight. There's still a lot of news currently happening in our industry. There's ongoing work in England and in Wales separately on current and future general practice contractual arrangements. We discussed the direction of travel in England this week with Health Minister Joe Churchill. I expect that by the time of our next update, there will be further developments to report on. So I'll be back in 2 weeks' time, but in the meantime, do keep checking our live updates for the latest news on dentistry across the UK. Have a safe and healthy weekend.